Hello and welcome to New South Wales State Archives mini webinar, What Happened to Keyname Search? Now, I'm sure I'm talking to everybody who was a fan of the Keyname Search facility. It was a very big deal at the time we were using it because it had the power to search all of our online indexes simultaneously and provide you with lists. If you look on the screen, you used to be able to go into it. That's where it looked because it was going to search all of our indexes online, a simple name, and then a list. And that was an extremely important development in our website when it was created. But what I can happily say is that today we can do the same functionality and we can do a lot more. So here we go to our website, and I'm going to show you by example now. Now, first of all, just get used to the website. We have these links here which we can call fast links and information that you can bring to hand. The picture changes over time, but at the moment it's the Harbour Bridge, and below it we have what we call collection search. Now, collection search has the same functionality as Keyname Search, exactly, but it's more powerful because it's not only searching our indexes online, it's searching the rest of our series as well. Because our collection, in a sense, is described by the subject, and so when you put in something, for example, like looking for a probate, it'll search our collection for that probate. But I'll show you by example. Let's start with Sally Miller. No particular reason. And it brings up what I would call a very neat result. It's a neat result because there's no noise. I'm guessing that may be the same person very strongly. And therefore, as a person who's looking for Sally Miller, if that's the person in terms of my dates, then that is probably the right person, and I found a really strong result. So you can see it still has the ability to search all of our indexes and make a list. So we'll go with a different style of search. I'm going to do about 5 or 6 of these. YF Incorporated. Okay, to show you that it works for business names. Now, what's interesting when it comes to businesses, we have 2 series of notes that you will find records for. One is the documents lodged under the Companies Act, and one is from the business registers. And one is in indexes online, and the other is, well, they're both in indexes online, so it's going to find both of them. We'll go with a different search now. Let's go with John D. Now this result, I'm now moving you forward in technique. We're now looking at a result that's a little bit untidy because we've got William John Deeble, we've got John Hamilton Deeble, we've got John Thomas, all these different styles and names and so forth. So that's what I would call untidy result. And you're going to get untidy results because you're searching everything we have. It's so powerful, it draws in everything. So we're going to work now at how do we make that useful to me. So one of the techniques would be to put, say, John Deeble in quotation marks. So it works just like it does in Google. And notice that it brings up just one result, William John Deeble. Hopefully that's the one that you're looking for. And so that's one filtering tool that we have. And also we'll go with another search, Mark Hamilton. And now I've got a slightly untidy search again. Place Hamilton, person's name Mark. Place Hamilton, person's name Mark. So that's a miss. Hamilton and Mark, that's a miss. And John Mark Hamilton, which very easily could be the person I'm looking for. So you can see that that is an untidy result. So we need a way to tidy it up. Now we're going to use the same technique as before, just to confirm that skill set, and notice that we go down to just one result. I'll change it to Mary. And now we have a result that's untidy for reasons that are out of our control. We have Mary Hamilton, which is a ship name. We have Mary Hamilton Smithett, Mary Hamilton here, or Mary Hannah Mary Hamilton, and so forth. So the results are a little hit and miss, but not too bad, are they? Now, when you have this kind of result, we can actually look to the right to start looking at how can we filter it down to the results that I want and to tidy up our outcomes. The best one will probably be to hit the index result, because what the index result is exactly the same as what Keyname Search used to do. Exactly the same. Keyname Search searched the indexes, and if you hit the index result, you get a list of everything in the indexes. As we look down the list, with the possible muddying of the search with Mary Hamilton, we've got a result that is very close to what we're looking for. Okay. We'll go with another name, John Potter. John Potter is a ship. John Potter is a person. So the results are a little bit untidy. So what can we do? I suggest we start to learn, because if we're into using these indexes searches and the power index searches, which is what Keyname Search was, you're beginning to become very good at what you're doing, but you're ready to go up a level. This is how you do it. On the right-hand side, I noticed that I've got just probate packets, divorce packets, Farmers Relief Act files, primary applications. I encourage you to start looking at results like that. So to provide you with some experience, I'm going to click on probate packets. And notice how neat the search is. I've been looking for a neat search and now I've got one. And it's because I clicked on a filter. One of the interesting things about probate records is that you're pretty sure when it comes to ancestors, they're all going to die someday. So it's a record series that's going to trap a lot of your people of interest. And all you need is a date of death to be able to pick out the right one. So this is a very tidy result. Here's a little trick that you might like. If you put 1953 on the end, it'll filter out to only the results from that year. If you look down at the descriptions, they all have a year result, which is the date of the death and the date of the granting. The granting you can't predict unless you saw it in for example, the government gazettes, but everyone should have a date of death from the death certificate. So if you just put a year of death, it will actually filter down to just that year. And bingo, I found my person. So you see how, as you learn how the systems are described, you can use those descriptions to filter down and tidy up your results all the time. I'm going to try a search now that is designed, it's exactly the same as my example in the Keyname Search stage of this talk, where I showed you the example of how it used to be. I used John Smith, and it had thousands of results. So we'll do that again. This is as difficult as it gets. I feel sorry for the Smith families out there. My apologies in advance. But you can see we're inundated with the results. 801 results for John Smith. But when we go to the right, notice that we get our control back because we can look by record type. Now this time I'm going to click on digitally available. Just because I know that every time I hit digitally available, I get to see a record. So if there are any photographs, I can look down. There's one. Although it's not for John Smith, it's for John Anderson. But I'm pretty close to guessing that would be an alias John Smith. It's very common. Alias John Smith. Alias a few others too. It was a naughty boy. And we go back. And so we've got some railway cards, which have just recently gone into our systems. We've got all sorts of records. I won't describe them. But what you've got is when you hit the digitally available, you're going to get anything that's available online. I'll go back because this John Smith search is a really good way for me to give you a sense of control. Because if you can sort out John Smith, you can sort out any name in the system, I'm sure. We look to the right. I'm going to freshen the page up because that doesn't look right to me. It does now. It's still in the digitally available, so I'm removing that filter. There we go. There we go. It's back. Now you notice that you've got a large number of records in some series. Something like a probate packet, you can sort them out by the year of the death. Something like a divorce, you can sort out by the year the divorce started, the year it began. Something like primary applications, you can sort out when you know where they live. The interesting thing about primary application records is I would call this family history gold. And if you're not aware of what it is, I encourage you to have a look because essentially it's going to be a history of the property connected to that name going all the way back to the original grantee, which is magic. It has records in there that would fascinate any family historian. In the sense, it's a little bit like, who do you think you are? We'll just bring out the records and you'll say that it's a long line of records on the same subject that you're interested in. Okay, so you notice that how neat that search is. John Smith is always going to have a lot of results, but we've got it down to a manageable number out of which we can just make a selection based on what we know about the person. Where do they live in this case? When do they die? When do they get divorced? Any information you have makes the searching much, much easier. So as I wind down on the webinar today, notice that even when I tried to use a name that I knew would have too many results, it still works. And I'm sure that it can work for you. And for those of you who are really committed to Keyname Search, I hope I've been able to show you today that it is actually still there, and it's still there. And if anything, it's taken over the website, because what we're running now is Keyname Plus. So go forth, have fun, and filter. And as you filter, you're going to be learning about how our records are organized. And that one thing will lead to another, and soon enough, you'll be an expert. Good luck. Have fun.